Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Interact podcast. My name is Josh, co-founder and CEO at Interact. Today, I'm joined by Sam, founder of Explicit Essentials, self-care brand, and you've created a really cool e-commerce brand that's been growing nicely. And in our previous chat, one thing that you said that I think about like at least once a week is you said, I know exactly what to say in my content to get my audience to respond. And I feel like that is the problem of marketing in 2026 is no one knows how to say or what to say to get people to take an action, and you've unlocked that code. So thank you for being here. And then if you want to just jump in and tell us how you figured that out, that would be super helpful.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm a fan of Interact and a fan of your podcast. So I really appreciate it. And that is such a nice compliment. My piece of advice would be go into a business that is where you are your own target demographic. That has really helped a lot. I am my own target demographic in most ways. And so it makes it easy to um, it makes it really easy to reach my audience because I talk to them the way that I want to be talked to, what I think is funny, what I think is relatable. And then also my friends, family, coworkers, I talk to them like I would talk to any of those guys. And so that really resonates. And it allows me to be genuine and send a message that resonates because that's how I would talk to my people. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you can just talk how you would talk in real life, I guess that makes it a lot easier. I think,
Yeah.
like, just to play devil's advocate, right? Like, I think a lot of the objections that I hear, and like, I think this is probably what's popping into people's minds listening is like, well, people like myself don't buy my product, right? Or like,
Sure.
don't want what I have to sell.
Sure.
How did you think about that when you were building this business? Obviously, you built it in a way that works for you, but like, I'm sure there was hurdles there. Like, how did that work?
Yeah, so you just have to find that connection. I recognize I am so fortunate to have a brand that, my brand is definitely not for everyone. And we have come out with pieces, to try and reach the people that do think we're funny, but maybe don't have a person that they can give to, right? And so, kind of reaching across and going, okay, well, I don't think this isn't what I would do, but I can still find a middle ground with that person that's not necessarily our target demographic. So, um, I think I really think there's always a way to find a connection, and even if your target audience isn't you, you can still find that connection, and people just want to be people are tired of being sold something. They want to feel something, right? And so being genuine and relatable, and not being too salesy. Everything doesn't have to be so salesy all the time. I think finding a genuine connection is probably a good place to start.
I I totally agree with that. I think that's a really hard mindset for people to get into. I
Sure.
have just a bazillion conversations where I feel like I'm over here and I feel crazy because I'm like, think about how people feel, think about what's going to build connection. And then I'd go on this whole rant, and then they're like, okay, so what cadence of email should I send? Every 2 days or every 3 days? And I'm like, did you not hear anything that I just said?
Right.
So what do you think? I don't necessarily have a specific question there, but just like how would you handle that scenario?
That is a great question. Ask ChatGPT. I'm, I'm kidding.
Fair. Fair.
I don't know. Can you rephrase that question? Let me think. Give it a second thought.
Yeah, okay. So let's say that you are advising another ecom brand, and you're trying to explain what you just said, which I thought was very well put, where it's like people want to feel something they don't want to be sold to, and you're
Sure.
explaining that to them. And then their response back to you is like, "Okay, so should I send my email newsletter every week or every twice a week?" And
Treat. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios where you can't just do what you would want to be done to you, but again, that is a good starting place, right? So, what do you prefer? How do you like to receive that information? Or what emails are you reading? And auditing, similar brands is a good way to start. Okay, I want to be like this brand one day. What is it that they're doing? What do I find annoying? What do I admire about this brand? And that I've audited tons of brands and just looked at, oh, I hate this. This is gross. Why are they doing that? And then just knowing what you don't want to do is a great place to start. But then I have found lots of, and I'm not trying to replicate or duplicate anybody else's work. But there's inspiration to be pulled from what other people have done, and so just look to the brands that you want to be like and that you admire.
I like that. And obviously now you've had great traction, your business has grown really nicely. Do you want to give the listener like a general sense of what growth has been like for you, just to kind of set the table?
It has been volatile. I started in my basement in Queens, and it every single year it has grown into this monstrous thing. And we've been able to listen and hear people, and I could attribute that to some of the growth is just like, um, seeing what people are saying on social media, seeing what people are talking about in real life, reaching those people and then seeing what their reaction is. And I think because we are listening and hearing them, um, it's just turned into a monster. And so, uh, you know, even just reading our reviews. So I was talking to one of our marketing people, and she was like, I was telling her, gifting tags, we need to be targeting gifting SEO. And she's like, well, people are buying it for themselves. And I'm like, yeah, they are. But looking at our reviews, we see that a lot of people are gifting the products too. And that's kind of when we were trying to figure out that data and came to Interact. And so we created that quiz so we can see who are we supposed to be targeting, people on the self-care journey or people on the gifting journey. And so when we started hitting gifting people that, girls that women that want to give gifts to other women, or boyfriends that want to get something nice for their girlfriend, something that's relatable and funny, we really started to lean in, and it's really started to get crazy. It's at minimum 50% every year that we've grown. A few of the years were a bit closer to 150. And then one year we had somewhere in like the 280 range. So it has been fast, fast, and we have been trying to just keep up.
That's awesome. And again, what I'm hearing there is just like you're listening. You're like paying attention to what people want and what they would feel like they need versus like because you are coming in. I can see how the brand is very personal. Um, do you want to give a high level of what it is? We've been talking about it for like 10 minutes. I haven't even asked you what it is for the listener to hear. What's a general overall elevator pitch of the brand?
So we are a women-owned and operated bath and beauty products. We sell sugar scrubs, shower steamers, lotions, things of that nature, gift boxes. So it's all of our products have a swear word on them, and it's not offensive to be offensive, but it's more of taking back, owning those words. I shudder to say girl boss vibes, but that's the closest thing that comes to mind without actually saying any of the bad words. But it's a it's a vibe, it's presence that you want to give your friend when you maybe can't tell your sister-in-law, hey, you need to cool your jets, but you can give her the gift, and it's funny and it says what it needs to say. So we're a self-care brand, but we're also a gifting brand.
That's so cool. It's so cool that you also identified that people are giving it as a gift and you were paying attention to that versus just like, you know, running with what you wanted, which I think that's a mistake a lot of brands make. Is like, oh, we think it should be for this. So we're going to do it for this. But you actually were paying attention and seeing how people actually wanted to sell it. So the growth has been fast. I mean, like 50% minimum up to 280%. That's a lot. How have you thought about operations and scaling up the product delivery? And also, one of the times we chatted, you mentioned like you do keep track of like what's selling well and what's not, so that you don't have too many SKUs. How do you think about all that for something that's grown really rapidly?
Yeah, so we kind of um as we grew and different platforms, new data became available, right? So we were just kind of just literally, what is it that we're putting in the box the most? Hey, this is going really well. I feel like we've sold 100 of these a week. And then that was kind of when we were on Etsy, and then we got to Shopify, and now we've got like real data we can look at and go, oh, okay, wow, this is the product, and it's different for every platform. We have a couple SKUs that are heroes on TikTok. We have a couple hero SKUs on Shopify. We have a couple that come from Meta ads that people really like on Meta, and it's interesting to see. They all kind of overlap a little bit. There's like a general idea. I am lucky in that I have an assistant, Colleen, who really, really loves a graph. So she loves mining that data and putting it into a beautiful graph for us to look at and go, okay, so at this point, we have SKUs that do really well at Mother's Day. They're kind of obviously geared towards mothers or daughters, or you know any woman that needs a break around May. So we really utilize a lot of data and that we're getting from the platform, and we can take a kind of high level look at all of the data together, but we have to really treat each SKU on its own platform as its own thing. They're all kind of their own. All the platforms are their own little monsters.
That's so smart. I think that's something I've started noticing too, with our customers that are having a lot of success, like yourself. It's like each social media is almost its own personality, its own vibe. I don't know the best way to put that into like fancy business words, but it's essentially like people want different things if they're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever else, right?
It is really interesting to see, because in the beginning I was trying to force SKUs that performed really well on Etsy on Meta, my Meta ads, and I go, this is what they like, this is what they like, this is what they like, and then move to a new platform. I'm like, why aren't they liking this? Oh, wait, they like this. So that was actually like kind of a hard, like we had to learn that in real time, because you can't force, this might be successful over here, but it's not going to do great over here. We had to like really learn that the hard way.
Do you know, like anecdotally, or if there's data or whatever, if it's the same people, like the same demographic, age, whatever, um, that are buying different products on different platforms, or if different platforms are appealing to different types of
That's
people?
actually something we're just starting to work on. We're just starting to really segment our audiences a little bit more and pay attention to that. I mean, as a business owner, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, and so that's something that we kind of just recently got into. Is like, oh, we should be really like paying attention to who, what, where, on every single platform, and not just assuming, high level. Okay, our target audience is exhausted women ages 35 through 65, you know what I mean? We need to like really dig into it. So that's something we're actually currently like in real time working on, segmenting our audiences a little bit to get to know them a little bit better by platform, by product, etc.
Do you think that what your audience is feeling, because you mentioned before, like you're selling a feeling or selling to a feeling, something along those lines, are people feeling just like exhausted and burnt out, and these
Yeah.
products are like a, f- a less like clinical way of admitting that? You don't have to be like, oh, I took this assessment and I'm burnt out, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can just do it in a fun way.
Yeah, so why does it have to be so serious, I guess? And that's kind of like part of the beginning of our brand, right? Like, and I didn't even know, like, when I started, putting cuss words on products and then putting it on the internet, I didn't even know if I was allowed. Like, I'm just waiting for someone to go, hey, you can't do this. But no one did, thankfully. But like, literally the whole time, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep going until someone says stop. But no, I'm sorry, I already forgot the question.
No, no. It's like, do you think that the feeling they're connecting to is that like burnt out exhaustion
Oh,
feeling, and then
absolutely. Yeah. What woman do you know that isn't exhausted, And so we're changing, we're adapting, we're just trying to juggle so many things, and it's, we're mothers, we're friends, we're sisters, we have jobs, we clean the house, we cook dinner, we take care. I mean, and that's everyone, right? It's not just specific to women, but of course, and it's nice to be able to just not be so serious about it. You know what I mean? that's what every brand is, right? And they're just trying to polish things that doesn't really need to be so polished. And like it's also nice to be like, here's this, but also a laugh, like who doesn't need a little bit of like heavy sigh or even like even just like a chuckle sigh, like that, oh, that's funny. So I think it helps. And I think our audience is definitely finding it all very relatable.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know, I'm just kind of spitballing now, but I feel like the companies and the brands that I've seen doing well in like recent history are doing some version of what you're doing, where it's like they're taking something that's like more serious or more like difficult to talk about and bringing some sort of levity to it, like some sort
Mm.
of, it doesn't have to be so hardness to it
Right.
in a way
Mm.
that like allows people to like still work on the thing, right? Because ultimately, like, you don't want to be exhausted for the rest of your life, so like you want to work on it, but you don't want to
Right.
do it in a way that's just like another job, right? It's
Right.
like, oh, well, now I have to do the job of working on my exhaustion and exert, like,
Exactly right. Yeah,
ridiculous.
we want to engage with products. If I've got a product that's appealing visually versus a product that's really boring and looks just like everything else, I'm more likely, me personally, and I think a lot of our audience, I'm gonna go for the pretty thing. I'm gonna go for the fun thing. I'm gonna pick something that's just a little bit cooler. You know what I mean? And and it feels a little bit less like a task, like a chore. Like, oh, like it's a cute little guy. And I think, yeah, I think that's helpful in our success for sure. Is just being able to, here's this. It doesn't have to be another job. It can be fun.
And do you like test, or how do you keep tabs on like, you know, sentiments changing, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
you
People will
know,
let you know. They'll let you know in the comments. uh no, you know what? It's funny. When I first started, I did a pop-up in Brooklyn, and I thought this is where I can toe the line, right? I'm in Brooklyn, so it's gonna be great. And so I came out with a product that had the C word on it, right? And uh I thought it was funny and I liked it, and it wasn't totally vulgar. It was just like, you have to just trust me, it was catchy. But it did have the C word on it. And one of the guys that was working in a booth across from me, we had been chatting, whatever, and he comes over and he goes, "Hey, you're not paying attention to this, but I noticed a lot of customers are walking up and they're making eye contact with that one product and then they're turning away from your booth." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I kind of almost didn't believe him because it was really silly good. I thought it was a really great product. Um, and then I kind of, clocked into what he was saying. And sure enough, like one person, two person, three person, I was like, huh. So I just, yanked it down and took it off the counter. And then all of a sudden, people are in my booth and they're hanging out and they're talking and they're vibing. And I'm like, wow, I genuinely thought like that wasn't going to be too much, but it was. And so you have to listen to people. To even so, I mean, I didn't even pick up on it. I was thankful that that guy, saw what was happening and picked it up and said something to me about it. But we're we don't want to water ourselves down, right? But we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We don't want to be offensive for the sake of being offensive. We want to be something that is relatable. So we just have to be aware, pay attention, listen to what people are saying. Believe me, they will tell you if you want to listen. They will tell you exactly what they hate, what they love, and so it's just finding a balance of because I get a lot of comments. From everyone's grandma, saying that I shouldn't even be doing this at all. So it's a little give and take, and you have to balance. Take some feedback for what it's worth, and really take other feedback to heart.
and do those things change, right? Like, I'm curious of, you have this product that turns people away now. Does it change like 6 months later? It doesn't, or vice versa? Like, a product
um
really resonates and then it doesn't.
we haven't had a ton not resonate. We have we just see that people, it's more or less people like this better. Not that they're really like, people never stop buying certain things, but we can see that these are clearly heroes. So let's focus our energy on the heroes rather than the ones that do a little bit less. That's kind of how we look at it. But not, I haven't seen anything totally just be like, oh, this isn't irrelevant anymore.
That's really interesting. Do you
That's
think
just
that's,
in my brand, though.
yeah, well, I'm just curious from your lens, like, do you feel like that's just like human nature stuff, like
I'm
this
sure I'm
resonates
sure
with
at some
people.
I'm sure at some point we'll encounter that, and we'll just have to do what we always do, just deal with it, keep moving.
Yeah, yeah. And going back to this kind of concept of creating a feeling or creating a connection, because I think it's just such an interesting topic. What do you think it is that allows you specifically to do that? Like, I think I'm just more curious of like if there's anything from, I don't know, the way that you grew up or jobs that you've had, or like why is it that just kind of not, I wouldn't say it comes naturally to you, because obviously like you're thinking about it, you're very thoughtful about how to do it, but like do you think there are any elements of like your life situation that allow you to think through that lens, or was it just completely learned?
Um, a little bit of both, I would say. I was actually raised super duper religious, so I know that's going to come as a shock as to no one that I have gone completely the other direction. Um, yeah, very extremely religious. I actually got in trouble a lot in high school for my bad word usage. So I I think I was just a bit of a rebel, and I just needed to. I just need. Nobody could tell me why I can't say the F word. Why can't I say the B word? What's not hurting anybody? Why do you care so much? And I think I just kept rebelling and just kept going. And then I found people that were like me, and you're like, yeah, let's say a bunch about, what I mean. But then you do have to learn to listen, and you have to learn to take feedback, and not let it hurt your feelings, and just go, okay, I hear you. And then learn, you have to, it's a little bit of both for sure. You have to, as soon as you know better, you gotta do better. And that is a lot of just owning a business, is learning and then doing better.
That's I like that quote. As soon as you know better, you got to do better. How do you balance that? Because from a business perspective, right? Like you want to be pushing the limits. You want to be trying out new marketing messages, new ways of going to market, all that kind of stuff. But then, like the example of the guy pointing out the product that people were responding poorly to, you also want to be able to adapt to that. But then you also have the group that's constantly saying negative things, right? And we experience this too with Interact. Like, there's always a group that's just like, "What is this? Is dumb," and you
Yes.
can't listen to them, right? But then there are people that you need to listen to. Like, they tell you
Sure.
like, "Hey, you need this feature, or you need to be able to do this," right? And it actually is really important. How have you learned to suss through those things?
Vibes. It's all vibes. How did they come at me?
Mm,
Was it with ill intent or to be malicious, or were they genuinely trying to be helpful? And I have had people just cold email me going, "Hey, I don't like this, and this is why." And so for instance, when we started out, we were using a colorant, mica powder, in our products, and I didn't know that it wasn't always ethically sourced. No one had ever told me. I'd never thought to do research. Why I just never thought about it, right? And then a customer reached out and goes, "Hey, just so you know, sometimes this is unethically sourced, and I don't know if you've ever." And like they were just very genuine, and I caught the
mm,
vibe that she was just trying to let me know something. And the next day, boom, done. We're using a brand that only does ethically sourced colorants. And that was that was an easy switch for us. And it was just how she came at me. And you could just tell by you she's genuinely trying to be helpful. And we've had tons of other women make suggestions, and it really just depends on intent, I think.
mm,
And so that's kind of how we balance through. I also have like um a bunch of young women who work for me, who are also great at catching vibes. So
mm.
I can always bounce things off of them. Hey, what do you think about this? Or I have a really good sounding board with them. So I think that's also really helpful.
Yeah, yeah. It's so important to like pay attention to like what mindset somebody's in when they're approaching you. It's like, is this is this their own, feelings or whatever that are getting mixed up in this, or do they actually know something that's useful and they're trying to be helpful? Um,
Yeah.
One final question I wanted to ask you as far as like being a business owner now. Because speaking of like feelings and connection, I think a lot of our audience, they are already business owners, but everybody's always looking for inspiration and just like, the feelings. What does it feel like for you, positive or negative, to be running this business now that you've, achieved, I would say, a great level of success with it, and you have built it in your own way. What does that feel like?
It feels absolutely incredible most days. No, I am not. I'm humbled by it constantly. And I'm also still waiting for some adult to come tell me I can't do this.
Ah,
Honestly, I mean, it's been years, and I'm still like, oh my gosh. And like every single year, when we do better than the last year, it's just overwhelmingly humbling. Like I just can't believe people still like me. I can't believe it's still cool. I can't believe people are still buying the products. But it is absolutely unbelievably rad. There are days, when things go wrong and you're just ready to, say I quit and walk out the door. But I do have an amazing team and they keep me, right where I need to be mentally. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we have a blast. I can't believe I get to do this every day. It's absolutely incredible and I love it. And you just have to keep going. Just keep going. You'll get there. You got to focus and lock in and it can be just the absolute best. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I don't know how to say it else. It's great. I
that's
absolutely love it.
it's a great description though. I think that is the feeling. I agree with it. Like when it's up firing and you're working with great people and you're just getting stuff done. And I also resonate. It does always feel like you're waiting for an adult to be like, no, 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 this is not real. Uh,
Yeah. And for me, I know that I'm doing the right thing when things are clicking into place. They're just it just seems to happen. It's like, okay, I've got this idea for this new product, and then boom, the design is there. Boom, the packaging's done. Here are the ingredients. Boom, let's next step, and it just kind of rolls out. And it's really great when it just kind of flows and organically happens, and it just feels good. And like that's the signal I should be doing what this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Not to say that when you don't run into a problem, you don't try to overcome and try to solve and climb the mountain, but um it's just really gratifying. I mean, I remember my first Etsy sales, and just like the ecstatic you feel. You're like, oh my God, like somebody likes the thing that I created with my hands. Like that feeling is just like overwhelming. Like it's so awesome. It feels so good. And so yeah, to have it on this scale is just it's absolutely awesome.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. And I like that you said the word flow. That was actually what I was thinking of as you were describing that. It's just like it gets into a flow. And then I think that also translates over to what we were talking about earlier. It's like people can feel that when you're going to sell the product or you're going to talk about it on social media. They can feel that flow is there through the
Yeah.
creation of whatever it is that you made. If it's e-commerce, if it's a digital product, if it's a software product, whatever it is, like did somebody actually put their like heart and soul into this? And if they did,
Yeah.
I think it comes across.
Yeah, yeah. People can feel when you're being genuine, and people can feel they can feel you in the product, right? Like they can see that you did this. You put you put your back into this and got it out there. And so yeah, people definitely respond super well to anything that's authentic, anything that's genuine. People aren't dumb. They can see it, and they know when they're being sold something, and they know when they're engaging with a brand that just wants to engage with them and wants to be, you don't have to buy from me, but you can say something funny in the comments and that's enough. Like that feels really good, and it feels validating for even people just to acknowledge you. And super validating when they buy your product and like it, and but yeah, it we're having a great time over here.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Well, anybody listening, the website is explicitessentials.com. Thanks, Sam, for doing this. I feel like I learned a lot, and I think the audience did as well. So thanks.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Oh, let's see. Will it let me stop it?
I have actually
No.
a question for you.
Yeah.
Uh, my assistant and I, Colleen, were talking about this, and I said, "Man, the last call we got off, I was like, I could talk to that guy forever. He just asked really great questions." And she's like, "Interesting that he asks good questions, and he's the creator of the question
The
thing." And I was
question
like,
thing.
"Oh yeah, that's true." And I was
Makes
like,
sense.
so we were talking about it, and we decided to inquire what came first, being good at questions, or did you become good at questions because of Interact?
It's a good question. I think it was like um not conscious at the time, if that makes sense.
Right,
Because I was always like really quiet, and so I would ask questions, or I would observe and then ask questions, right? Instead of like, being the first one to talk. Um and we started this when I was 19, so like I had no awareness of that. But then
right,
I think I started to realize maybe about 5 years ago, I was like, oh, this is totally a company that's built around, the way that I think about things, and my co
right.
founders as well. Like, we're all in there in different ways. It's really funny.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking about, I was like, man, that guy is really good at questions. They're really thoughtful questions.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then, I appreciate all the great answers that you gave here too. I think it's like I said, I think like this stuff that you've figured out, really hard to figure out, and really, really helpful stuff for anybody
Yeah.
kind of listening and
Yeah, I feel
thinking,
bad I don't have like a better business answer for some of this stuff, or like have the words to describe it, because there's a good chunk of it that is just intuition and just,
no, you're right.
it's just instinct, I guess.
Yep.
Learning to read people, and I could go on further into how I learned to read people, but I shan't.
No, I think you're totally right, and it's really interesting to me, the dichotomy that I'm starting to see. Um, and it almost feels like, how software engineers were just like made fun of forever, right? Like, I don't know when that started, maybe like the 1980s, and then fast forward to about 2015, and they became the most valuable people in the world, and I'd say they probably still are.
Yeah.
uh Now what I'm seeing is like intuitive people are getting kind of the same treatment, where it's like, oh, that's woo woo, you're not a real business person.
Right.
But like, I see the actual behind the scenes numbers, and I'm like, yeah, they're killing it. And y'all
Well, that's
over
good to know.
here, like y'all over here who are talking about these automations and flows and business jargon, are not making any money. So I'm
Right.
like, I kind of
Well,
feel like
I
it's
think
a new
it
thing.
falls back into people. People are tired of. I mean, the thing that we do to relax, right, is get on TikTok and get on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and it's just
Yep.
ad, and right, like we gotta be there. You gotta see the
Yeah.
stuff, right? But it's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
absolutely exhausting. And so, for me, I respond well to more genuine brand stuff. I love a founder story. I love listening to, how they get this started, what's going
Yep.
on, their funny skits with their employees, the EGC, the employee generated content,
Yep.
that's what I want to see. I don't want to see another ad. I see an ad every third TikTok video. I'm just trying to have a laugh.
Yep.
Stop trying to sell me leggings. I have
Exactly.
enough leggings. So that's
Exactly.
frustrating.
Yeah. And like, that's the trend that I'm starting to see, because I'm like, I talk to these people, and like, the Harvard MBAs would just, poo poo them all day long. And I'm like, yeah, but like, no one's reading the Harvard Business Review, and a million people saw that person's last reel. So
Right.
who's really right here? And
Right.
I honestly, I'm like, it's probably going to take forever, because it took forever for the software engineering thing. Like, they were just nerds for 15 years. I
Right.
kind of feel like it's the same. I'm like, 15 years from now, brands are going to be paying, I don't know what they'll brand it, intuitive thought leaders, $1 million a year,
Uh-huh.
just like
That's
they
what I'm
pay
gonna. That's
software
like
engineers.
I'm changing my title to intuitive thought leader right
Yeah,
now.
I think that is it. That's the thing. And I'm just like, dude, it is really, really, really telling to me. Like, because, I get to see both sides of it, and I'm like, everybody
Well, and like
else not doing well.
for me, that was kind of the train I was on for a while, right? It was less about my intuition and more about this is what brands are doing, this is what you have to do. This is
Yep.
what brands are doing, this is what you need to do.
Yep.
And trying to mimic what other brands were doing, and I don't know them. Why am I trying to, like,
Yep.
obviously there's inspiration to be pulled all over the place, but this is just what I thought I was supposed to be doing, so let me do that. And then I got to a point where I'm like, this sucks. I hate
Yeah.
this. Let me switch back to, and when we saw results, we tried doing the things that we were supposed to do, and it fell. And it's like, and that was also heartbreaking. I was like, man, I put all this effort into, and the gas I made on TikTok the other day that I thought was trash, people like, it blew up. So it's
Yep.
like, why try so hard to get worse results when I could just be myself? And the
Yep.
girls in my office, just let them be themselves and do what they do, and it
Yep.
works.
Nope. I think that's exactly it. And I'm like, it's it's very telling to me. Like, there's so much of this garbage going around with the AI stuff, and I'm like, they're just it's just regurgitating like the uninterestingness,
Right.
and no one is responding to that. No one's watching it. No one wants to engage. Like, I think it feels very appealing to people because it's like, oh, I don't have to think anymore. And it's like, yeah, but
No.
also like no one wants that.
Right.
So you're not gonna get any customers.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, so as an intuitive thought leader,
Hmm.
um, but also someone who is out of time. I use ChatGPT for sure,
Yeah.
but I go, you have to use it as the right tool, right? So I go, this is the thing I want to say. Please help me articulate the thing I'm trying to say, and give
Yep.
me 12 variations. And then I can go, okay, this variation is the closest to what I'm actually trying to say. And if it says it doesn't make me laugh, it doesn't make my staff laugh,
Right.
then forget it. Just come up, keep braining, keep sorting it
Exactly.
out. you
Exactly.
can't
Yeah.
you
And
can't
like,
just take everything it gives you.
no, you can't take everything it gives you. You can't like try to follow best practices. Like, there has to be something in there that's different. And I think that's what I'm saying. Like, it comes from that intuition. Like, you just know. And that's why I think I've been, having just so many tough conversations with people where they're like, yeah, tell me exactly what to do. And I'm like, I cannot. Like, it has to be from you.
Yeah.
Like, and so, yeah. But I think, guys,
I'm
thanks for doing this. I think
I
this
get
is
it.
this
That's
is
a
great.
that's a struggle for you.
Oh, it's
I'm
so
a person
hard.
that wants to be told what to do, so I get it. I'm like,
It's so
oh
hard.
my
It's
god.
so hard. Yeah, and like there's some elements, right? Like with our quiz stuff where it's like, this rough number of questions and this many words. Like, I can tell you that, but like I cannot tell you how to ask the question. Like,
Right.
you gotta ask
Sure.
it in your words, and like
Right.
that's what people get really stuck on.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Thank
It
you.
was really fun.
Yeah, likewise. All right.
All
Have a
right.
good
Talk
rest of
soon.
your day.